Hello and welcome back to On the Spot Thought. I'm here with Kaitlin and Lillie today, so please just tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Hi, I'm Kaitlin. I'm a sophomore at K-State. I'm Dawson's friend. Also Lily's friend. I'm doing strategic communications as my major. Just chilling.
Sweet. Okay, my name's Lillie. I'm a junior. I'm an elementary education major, and I love it here at K-State.
It is a good time here.
It
so
is.
Today we're going to be talking about friendship.
Aww.
That is the general topic for the day.
Amazing.
So before I get started on kind of the random path that I'm going to choose, do you have anything you want to say generally speaking about friendship? Any thoughts on that?
Friendship is great. Don't really have any much other stuff.
So I guess the first thing I wanted to ask is, how do you think friendship changes from elementary school to middle school, high school, and now in college? How do you feel your friendships have changed, grown, adapted, changed?
Okay, I can start.
Go for it.
So in elementary school, I just felt like I was friends with, like, everyone. I was just, like, that little nice kid that was like, oh, even if someone's bullying me, I'm still gonna be their friend. And I never, like, realized the difference between bullying and friend, I guess, because I definitely got bullied. And then middle school came. I really, like, tried to find my friend group, and then high school came, and I finally, like, found that friend group, but they really weren't the best influence. I really didn't have a good, solid community of friends until I came to college. And so I think just having that, like, solid community just really helped me be intentional and vulnerable with the people I'm around. So
Similar to Lily, like, when you're younger, you kind of just, like the whole idea of inviting your whole class to the birthday party so that no one feels left out. That's kind of how I would describe that. Middle school, I definitely, you kind of, like, start having, like, closer friends and, like, kind of developing your friend group, and then you're always like, oh, I'm gonna be friends with these people for the rest of my life. And then you get to high school and you're like, just kidding, I don't remember any of those people. And then you get to high school and kind of the same thing, like, you know, you just kind of, like, at least for me, like, I don't know, I have, like, a few close friends from high school, but, like, most of the time they just kind of, like, fizzled off throughout the years. And then college is when I feel like people are, obviously because they're older, like, a lot more mature, and so it's, like, easier to form, like, deeper level, like, connections with people and stuff. So yeah.
So how do you think the purpose for getting a friendship has changed over the years? Like, I know when you're younger it's kind of like, I want to fit in, or maybe that guy has the kind of candy bar I want to eat. Let's be friends with him, you know? And how do you feel like that has changed throughout the years?
I feel like, I don't know, as you kind of, like, understand, just, like, we were talking about this the other day, me and Lily were, just about, like, understanding, like, everyone's kind of, like, purpose on Earth and, like, everyone's uniqueness. Like, it just kind of, I don't know, it makes you, like, view connections with people a lot differently. Like, at least for myself, like, I just, like, long to have, like, connections with others because I enjoy, like, getting to know people on, like, a soul level and, like, really investing time in people, and not for, like, selfish reasons. Like, I feel like in middle school and, like, when you're younger, it's kind of just like, oh, I really want to be friends with this person because they're really cool. But then you're like, well, actually, that's not all that there is to it. So, yeah.
For me, I think you just, like, seek out those people that kind of, like, have the same similar, like, personality, or people that you're like, oh, like, when I graduate college, I'm still going to be friends with them. And that's kind of where, like, my mindset changed, is, like, it changed from kind of like what Kaitlin said of, oh, like, that's a cool kid, to, oh, like, I understand this person, I know that I can be vulnerable with them, and that they're going to be my friend even after college.
Yes. And also, like, just helping each other, like, grow into the person that you, like, should be and want to be, and, like, encourage one another.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
No, definitely. So, we all have role models growing up. Do you ever feel that you looked up to a particular friend, or just kind of a peer of yours that you looked up to, and you're like, you kind of sought out friendship with them because you just wanted to be more like them. You wanted to pursue their character.
I feel like, I don't know, there's definitely been, for each, like, walk in my life, there's been, like, a person for, like, each part of that, so, like, it just, like, depends on, like, when it was, but, like, more recently, like, through college, I think that, like, definitely, my Bible study leader last year, all three of them, shout out Lily, but, like, specifically, like, Shannon Yeomans, she was, like, a senior last year, and I, like, really looked up to her, and she just, like, really modeled, like, just kind of, like, the type of person that I, like, strive to be, and so, yeah, that is, like, of the most recent, probably, so.
Yeah.
Growing up, I always strived to be my camp counselors at camp. So I just thought, especially when I was younger, and then I was, so, true. I was just like, I thought they were the coolest people ever, just like, they were so bubbly all the time, and everything, and I was like, wow, I want to be that person someday. And then, like, as I grew up, I kind of got more of a better understanding on, like, really what that looked like, and so a lot of that just came to just through, like, my relationship with Christ, and, like, seeing them through the lens of Christ so that I could, therefore, become that person as well.
Yeah. So in becoming that that kind of leader role, is it everything that you thought it would be, or what are the differences, or what do you enjoy about that?
I just enjoy, like, I'm very much of a people person, and so I just, like, really enjoy sitting and listening to people, which I guess when I was younger, I really didn't think that I'd be that person that would be more of the listener. I feel like since I do like to talk, I would be more of, like, the talker. But it's a lot harder, too, than what I thought. Like, there's definitely some challenges, for sure, that come with it that I didn't expect, especially last year, like, leading life group. There are definitely challenges that I didn't expect, just because you go in thinking it's going to go one way, and God's like, haha, psych, and then you're like, oh crap, well, okay, here we go.
Yeah. What about you, Kaitlin? Have you ever kind of been a leader in a certain situation, either with friends or with peers? Maybe not a specific leadership role, but you've seen people under you kind of looking up to you as an older friend, or just a friend in general?
Yeah, I would say, like, this year, because I'm leading, like, Roots Group with Lily. I almost said Gio. Why did I almost say that? With Lily and Cara. Yeah, definitely, like, what Lily was saying is, like, it's different, like, being in that role and, like, actually experiencing what it's like, and it's just, like, God, like, definitely wrecks you, and it's like, okay, reality check, you're not perfect, like, you're gonna, like, mess up, and, like, we're all human, we're all flawed, and, like, all we can do is just, like, trust God's plan and everything like that, and just, yeah, try and make those deeper connections with people, and just live, like, how Christ would want us to live, and so, yeah, but, yes.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how a lot of times you could be in a leadership role without even realizing it. I remember, I think I was, like, 7th grade, I was at this event, and this girl comes up to me, and she's like, "Are you Dawson Bailey?" And I was like, "Yes, but I have no idea who you are." Well, turns out she went to the same private school I went to back in 5th, 6th grade, and I used to do Foursquare a lot. I was among the Foursquare group. We kind of led the Foursquare team. You know, we were the first
squad.
ones to go out there, and then the line would form after we started and kind of organized the rules and all of that. She's like, "I remember you from Foursquare. You were, like, one of the main guys that ran the Foursquare thing." She's like, there's no way I would have recognized that, and I didn't even see it as a leadership position. I was just trying to play for some Foursquare. And that's a minor thing. It's not like, I don't know, she may have looked up to me as a Foursquare player. Probably not, but you know, it's not something that you think about.
Right.
And a lot of times you might not even realize that until they say it, or a lot of us just never realize it at all. So I think that's kind of interesting to think about, you know, to be aware of that. Continue to try to be a good person throughout all you do, to represent yourself well, but also to represent just morals well, so that other people that are trying to follow you don't fall into a ditch, anything like that. But yeah. So do you feel that growing up you've had a whole lot of, like, older friends, in the sense, like, have you had adult friends when you were in high school or now? Or I know me personally, I only had, like, a very select few adult friends, but it was more just kind of like they were my friends' parents, and so I had an all right relationship with them. But Yes, the screen turned black, and
I'm
it's
just
not a
making sure
problem.
we're still recording.
Yep, no, we're good. But yeah, I know some people have really close bonds with parents and whatnot. So have you experienced that at all?
Maybe not necessarily with like adults, but I definitely like growing up, and even now, like I've always been more so friends with like people who are older than me, just because I don't know, I've just always been that way. I feel like I just like get along with people who are older better, but like adult friends, I mean, there's been like, this sounds kind of stupid, but like some like teachers from my high school that like really made an effort to like get to know me on like a deeper level, and like were really like encouraging to me throughout some of my
that's
classes.
awesome.
So,
Yeah. What class was, or what specific class? You don't have to shout out your name or anything, but
so my I'm trying to think. It was a science class. I can't remember, but it might have been like the one we did experiments in it. We did like experiments where you would like
biology, chemistry.
It might have been biology.
Okay.
We like dissected like a pig and like a cow's
biology.
eye. Yeah, biology. I actually didn't really know her at all when like I was in the class. Like I didn't really like talk to her that much, but after like my senior year, she like got to know like me and my group of friends really well, and was just like a really good mentor to us, and like would always like check up on us if like we seemed like we weren't doing as well, or like just like in life, not like grades. Like she didn't really care about that. She didn't really, you know what I'm saying. Just as like a person, not a teacher, but but like I got to know her pretty well. Yeah. And she was like a really positive influence like my senior year. So
that's awesome.
I miss her. Her name was Mrs. Smith.
Yeah. Shout out
Mrs.
to
Smith.
The one and
If you're
only
listening,
Mrs. Smith.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. What about you, Lily?
For me, so one of my dad's college roommates and his wife are like pretty close friends of mine. My brother and I call them aunt and uncle, even though we're not related whatsoever. So growing up with that was just super helpful, because then you knew like outside of family that you always had like someone else, an adult figure to like always go to. They loved Max and I like super, super well, and I actually got the opportunity to go on family vacation with them one time to Alabama, which was super fun. I was like, whoa, not even part of the family, but here I am. So that was probably my best example.
That's cool. Yeah. So I'm just bouncing between topics here, but people are often drawn towards people that they can relate with, that are very similar, that enjoy the same things, can talk about the same things. Do you think it's important to have friendships with those who contrast very differently from you, that are very different from you in both what they enjoy and what they like? Do you think you should have a lot of them, just a couple of them? What are you kind of thoughts on that matter? Just kind of reaching out to those different than you.
Yes.
Well, yeah, perfect. We'll move on to the next
I'll
one
expand
then.
on that. I think it's good to like get to know people who have like different viewpoints as you, and like just different like personality wise, just because I think it really helps you to like grow as a person, and like maybe see things from a different perspective that you didn't see it before. So yeah, I definitely think it's good to have like friends who are not the exact same as you, because I feel like if you're friends with people who are like a clone of you, like you're just gonna not be doing well. Like I don't know, I feel like it's good to have like a few close friends who are like that, but I definitely think it's more like I don't know, it like motivates you more to like grow as a person and learn new things when you're friends with people who are like different. So
yeah, I would also agree with that. I just know, like, coming to college, I've definitely found, like, people who are very different than me, and they've been able to point out, like, strengths and weaknesses, like, in myself, that if I would have just stuck with friends that are my same personality, I wouldn't have discovered those strengths and weaknesses, like, through them. So I think it's definitely important.
I think it's important. I also think that there should be some caution behind it, in the sense that you don't want to be too malleable when it comes to allowing others to influence who you are. You do want to allow some malleability, because if you just stick to who you are and you're not going to allow any change, then you're never going to grow as a person. But if you allow yourself to be too malleable and just accept everything that's coming in, that's kind of very dangerous. So it's important. It's hard because not everyone is so sure of who they are. Not everyone knows what they want to be, and so it's kind of hard to just figure out what to reject and what to keep. So I think there is importance there, just kind of learning that accepting the wisdom from older people is extremely helpful. Not everyone does that well, especially in the younger teenage years. You're like, I know everything, okay? You are
Those
old.
Angsty teens.
Yeah, angsty teens. You can't trust them. Darn kids. Whippersnappers. I love that phrase. It's perfect. It fits everything. So, branching off of that note, how do you think you're going to be when you're older? Just kind of guessing who you're going to become. Man. Do you think you're going to be the grouchy parents who's like, kids are the worst? I was you once and I was the worst, so you're the worst kind of a thing? Or I know there are people out there that are very accepting and trying to be understanding and caring. Where do you feel like you fall on that line as a older adult?
I would hope the latter.
Yeah.
I would hope that I'm not like stubborn and old, because that's not fun at all. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see,
see how it goes.
What happens, see how it goes, see how I turn out. I would hope that like I am always growing and always willing to change and always willing to learn something new, but also like firm in my beliefs and like knowing who I am, but also not like a stubborn old lady. You know? There needs to be a balance there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think firm in your beliefs is good because you are older and you do have wisdom from life, so you don't want to disregard that wisdom. In the same way, you don't want to be condescending to those who are seeking knowledge or just those younger than you. What about you, Lily? Are you going to be a crotchety old woman?
I mean, this is a good question. I don't know. I'm like imagining myself just because like I'm going into education, and so I feel like my role as a teacher is going to play into my role as a mom. So like I think I'm going to be just like very understanding and accepting, because that's how I'm going to have to be with my students, especially since in our society today we're seeing a lot of more like diversity, and so I think that's really going to help. And then obviously patience, like something I'm still working on.
Me too.
But yeah, I think I'm just gonna, my patience is for sure gonna be tested just like in the classroom, and I think that's going to help me be able to better relate, hopefully, like to my role like as a mom and an older adult, just with that experience of having to be patient with kindergartners and first graders.
And I think it's difficult as you experience more and more just like difficulties. It's kind of hard to keep that upbeat, positive attitude. I watched a movie last night, A Simple Favor. Very weird movie, but that one of the things that I saw was that the mom, the main character, at the beginning of the movie was very like, I'm going to sign up for everything on the school board, I'm going to do all this stuff, was very kind towards all the kids. And it wasn't the focus of the movie, but there was a snippet at the end of the movie. She had gone through all of this just crap, and the kids were fighting in the back like they had at the beginning of the movie, and unlike being like, okay, let's kind of settle down, she was just like, cut it out or I'm throwing the toys in the trash. Just like immediately, just like did not want to deal with it anymore. And I think it's hard to try to fight that as you grow older. And there is a balance. You don't want to be overly nice with kids, and you don't want to be overly difficult with them. But aside from all that, you want to keep a caring heart, and it's hard to keep a caring heart in the world that we live in. It's constantly crushing your heart. It's hard to keep that going. But how do you guys think you can help to prevent your heart from being crushed by the world?
Stay focused on the end goal and why we're all here, why I'm here. Know that God is in control, and that's all we need to know. Try not to be in control of everything, because I definitely need to work on that. Yeah. I don't know. Trust in God.
Yeah.
I think community like is super important. Everyone talks about like community in college, and I think just like carrying that community on like for the rest of your life, like when you graduate college, and when you move to a different state or city outside of Manhattan, like you're gonna need to find that community again, and then even as an adult, like you're gonna need to find community in a church or just like community in your job, because you can't do anything on your own, and it's important. Like obviously, I mean, you have Christ if you're a believer, but you also just need people in your life as well.
Yeah. Community is actually it's critically important for life. Kind of a sad psychological story. They did this experiment. They wanted to figure out what language a child would speak if he wasn't exposed to any language or anything, or like kind of how he would grow up like that. So they did a really, really messed up experiment where they had the children kind of in this isolated area. They'd come in, they'd bring them food, but there'd be no physical contact of any kind. No one would do anything. They'd give them the necessities to live, shelter, food, all of the necessities, but just no human contact of any kind.
That's awful.
And they actually died within, I think, the first couple months.
Oh my goodness.
Just because they lacked the human contact that they needed. So terrible experiment, but it was interesting to see that the community was also necessary for survival, especially in the earlier years of life. Whether that be human or animal, I guess, but just you needed something to commune with.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, crazy experiment. This was like the 30s, so.
Yeah.
But
that one crazy scientist guy.
It was one of the crazy scientists.
Yeah, one of the many.
Yeah. But
oh, scientists.
Oh, scientists. They're better now, okay? They've changed. But
they grew in community.
Right?
They
community.
Learned from
Community.
Past.
Community of scientists.
Yeah.
So, how many close friends do you think you've had growing up? So, and how many of them have you continued to keep, and how many of them, I don't know, kind of just around that question.
That's a hard question. Like my whole life from like birth to now, or like.
Let's start after middle school. Let's do middle school to now.
So starting middle school to now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I don't know.
Do you think you're on the high side of close friends? I guess let's start with this. How would you define a close friend? So let's go back one step from that. Mm-hmm. How would you define a friend?
Whoa.
Just a general friend.
Okay.
And how would that differ from how you define an acquaintance?
I think
I can tell you guys haven't thought about this before.
I don't know. I don't really get this question a lot.
Whoa.
I wasn't prepared. I think like friends versus acquaintances. Like friends is kind of like a mutual thing. Like you're both kind of like, hey, we have a connection. I like being around you. I like talking to you. I like hanging out with you. Cool. Yeah, you're my friend.
Yeah.
Acquaintances is kind of just like you say hi to them, don't really talk to them, very surface level. Mm-hmm. Like, don't really know them that well. I don't know, Lily, what do you think?
So here's, okay. So acquaintance is, I would describe as like someone in my class who like I just see every day, maybe sit by, do homework with. A friend would be how I would describe like working at the front desk of Haymaker, like my coworkers would be like my friends. I would consider them my friends because we just spend a lot of time with each other. Even people on my floor I would consider to be my friends. And then close friends I would say are like those people that I want to hang out with on the weekends, or that I know like if I need something I can text them and they'll be like, okay Lily, I'm on my way, or hey, like give me a call. That's how I would describe the difference between acquaintance friend and close friend.
Yes, I like that definition more than mine.
Yeah, I'd like to accept her definition as opposed to my definition. Yeah. It was growing up. I always thought of a friend as someone that I would hang out with outside of school.
Yes.
And so that's kind of how I defined it. I talked to a lot of people in school, and we would be friendly. And maybe now I would consider them as a friend back in the day, but I kind of consider them like a good acquaintance, you know? Yeah. I wouldn't hang out with them outside of school, but I saw them at school, right?
Not a bad acquaintance.
A good acquaintance. Levels of acquaintance, I'll bring it up another time. No? But then I saw close friends as the ones that I could really have important conversations with, you know? That you could just sit down and you can just talk to them for an extended period of time, right? Because I have some friends that I could hang out with and we could do something together, but if we were sitting down in a room doing nothing...
Awkward silence.
Yeah, kind of awkward silence. So. Yes,
close friends, there is no awkward silence. You can sit there for many minutes. Or hours. I don't know. I was going to say hours, but I don't know if that's true.
It's interesting, the dynamic, the closer you are to someone, the closer you get to comfortable silence.
Yep.
When you can just sit in the room and both be not saying anything.
It's the best.
And just feel comfortable. You don't feel like you have to say anything.
Yeah.
You're not obligated to speak.
Yeah.
It's
Whereas
amazing.
with newer friends, if you're not speaking, one, you don't know enough about them, so it feels like you don't want to talk or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Like, oh no, they think I'm boring.
They think I'm bored.
Something to say.
Yeah. It is interesting how that works.
Mhm.
So.
What was the original question?
What was the original? Now, the original question, I believe, was, if we hopped all the way back, was how many close friends would you say that you've had, and how many of them have switched since, like, middle school, high school to now?
Okay. I don't know about numbers of, like, in total.
Just generally, yeah.
But, like, I do have, like, a few close friends from, like, middle school and high school. Mm-hmm. So I'd say the friends that I still have is probably, from, like, middle school and high school that I, like, still regularly talk to is probably, like, 15-ish, give or take.
Okay.
Some. Yeah.
That's impressive. Mine's probably
That's impressive.
I had a close group of friends in high school.
Okay. Mine's probably around 10.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I'm thinking, like, I have my close friends from high school, and then I also have, like, my close friends from camp, like, just growing up at camp, and then, I would consider those my close friends, and I just kept, like, a small little tight-knit group. So,
yeah.
I would say 10, maybe, 15. Yeah.
I'd say best friends, probably, like, 3 or 4 out of those 15 people. Like, my best friends from middle school and high school.
Yeah. Statement disagrees with me. In the sense that growing up, I always thought of, best friend as the one person. Yeah. Which is why I never defined any best friends. Who's your best friend? I was like, I have some good friends. No best friend. They're all great. Kind of a thing. Yeah. So I always thought that was interesting. They'd be like, yeah, these are my best friends, all 9 of them.
Top 8. I
was confused. So, you guys mind if I ask an awkward question for you guys?
Oh, it depends on the awkward question.
No, it's too late.
Okay.
It's too late. Oh, okay. How would you define your guys' friendship? Or your gals'?
I'd say Lily's a best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Same.
Made top tier friendship right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Kaitlin and I especially, too, have, like, gotten a lot closer this year, especially with, like, leading a life group together, working together, and then Kaitlin literally lives right across the hall from me.
We're
so
always with each other.
There's, every day, I'm over there in the room, I'll just, like, go and knock on the door, and I think that just, we're able to have, like, a lot of intentional conversations, too. We're meeting one-on-one with each other once a week, which has, like, really grown our friendship as well. And I know, like, if there's anything, I can, like, go to Kaitlin, which has been super fun. And we have similar personality, and we also have, like, a different personality. I'm definitely an extrovert. I would consider you an introvert.
Yeah.
Oh, a little disagreement there.
I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we balance each other out, I would say.
So what are some of the things you would say that you guys complement each other with?
I think we're very good at talking to people.
Yeah.
Like,
we're both good at, like, making connections.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I feel like we're both, or at least you are, like, very, like, easy to talk to for some, like, other people. Just, like, very, like, down to earth.
Yeah. I feel like, too, just, like, having that role at the front desk, we both just, like, have very, like, cheerful personalities, bubbly personalities. Like, we're not afraid to say hi. Like, I know some people, like, who work at the front desk just, like, don't speak to anyone or any of the residents as they walk by, and Kaitlin
I force them to say hi back. They don't say hi back. I'm like, hey.
Hey,
you just get up from your desk, start walking towards them. Hey,
I'm talking to you. But, yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you think what is your main approach to creating new friends? How would you say?
Willing to, like, let them in to your own life. Like, you can't, like, expect other people to, like, be open with you and, like, not do the same for them. So, like, being vulnerable and, like, making connections and stuff.
Yeah. I feel like I see that a lot. Sometimes people have I've done a lot of interviews with companies recently,
Mm-hmm.
and so kind of starting that conversation off, it's kind of rough. But if you can find something where you can talk about something you enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
people like seeing other people talking about things they enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
They like if I see someone and they're just like, I love disc golf, and they just start talking about disc golf for like 30 years or whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's much harder to talk to someone if they never seem excited about anything,
Yeah.
never seem like they're enjoying anything.
Yes.
You know,
You have to like be welcoming and like happy and joyful and
happy and joyful. Yeah.
positive, and yeah, you have to like show interest in like what they're saying to you and like ask them questions about their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, what specific kind of approach would you say you take? So, for example, me growing up, the way I kind of became more extrovert in the sense that I could just talk to people is I just took humor and then I would say jokes and whatnot. I'd say something funny and that helps people latch on to conversations. Yeah. So that's kind of the approach I've grown up taking. How would you say you've grown up? What approach have you been using?
I'm honestly the type of person that will just like walk into a group of people and like stand there and listen and like try and like relate to them and then like start talking.
Yeah.
So like once I start talking about something that I can relate to, then I'll start talking. Or honestly, I'm just like really not afraid to just walk up to someone and be like, "Hi, my name's Lily."
Yeah.
And so that was really my approach.
Yeah.
Sometimes it always didn't work out very well.
Yeah, some people don't respond well to that.
But I wasn't afraid to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the same for me. I'm not really good at the whole humor thing. I
Mhm.
feel like it takes me a while to like show people my sense of humor just 'cause I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
I'm more just like get to know people and like
which is good. There's an importance to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was just letting everyone embrace the silence there for a moment.
The comfortable silence.
You know, I don't
It
think it was
wasn't
comfortable.
awkward.
It was. If you looked at Lily, she was very
I was
uncomfortable.
like,
She was visibly
guys-
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here embracing the silence, and she's looking at me like,
I'm like,
this
are you
needs
gonna
to
talk?
stop. This needs to stop. So I don't think we're at this friendship level.
Okay.
I think I'm at this friendship level.
Okay,
I was
so
very comfortable.
Caitlin was very
Now,
comfortable
awkward
in this
silence,
situation.
Even just with friends, especially
You
like
just can't
when you're
handle it.
talking, like when you're having conversation like we have been, and then it just goes silent. I'm like, what just happened? Like,
There-
did I say something? What happened?
Yeah, silence is a very interesting tool. Have you ever? So a lot of really good speakers, public speakers, when they do their speech or whatnot, they'll hit a purposeful silence in order to kind of draw the people in a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's impressive how powerful silence can be when used in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, silence would be more effective in a speech than saying or
Yeah.
you know. Just having a pause there instead of that is just more effective in speech, even though most people are not great at that. I know I'm not perfect at that either. You can see it a lot in the public speaking class freshman year.
Oh, yes.
Not too many people were great at it.
Nope.
You had the one person that went up there and knew everything that was going on. And you're like, great.
Mm-hmm.
Glad you're doing well. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to learn a lot about just silence.
Mhm.
Just especially we talk about it a lot in education, just because it takes so long for like kids to think of things, and so just like using that wait time. And then I recently found out that someone who processes things internally, it can take them up to 2 minutes to like think out loud. So for them to process in their head and then speak it out loud, it can take them up to 2 minutes to do that, which I found very interesting. So
yeah.
I'm working on it, clearly.
Yeah. I know. Sometimes these days, I try to keep conversations going, and so I'll find myself starting a sentence that I don't have a clear path for.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get through it, and I'm like, that was perfect.
It's like
I
Michael
got
Scott.
it. Yeah. And other times it's just like, okay, now I gotta work my way all the way back around, and now we're back on track. Sometimes I abandon the sentence altogether. Those are that another comedic way out of things. You start a sentence, you're like, just forget about it. It wasn't an important sentence anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what were you gonna say? I was like, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Leaves them on the edge of their seat.
Yeah, exactly. Always keep them on their toes.
Cliffhanger.
Right. I'm sorry. Reminded me of a little skit from In Between the Lions. You ever watch that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah.
Hanging from a cliff.
Wow.
I loved that.
Iconic.
I
Oh,
loved
I
that.
hated that.
You
Are you
hated that?
kidding?
I don't like cliffhangers.
He literally was just hanging on a cliff.
Yeah, they just no.
That was the
It
best
was so.
segment.
I always thought that was so funny. When I was a kid. I was
Hilarious.
like, wow.
It was
I was
awesome.
genius.
I just always got so frustrated. I was like, "What? No! Like finish!"
I thought it was funny. It was fun. Oh. She's getting better at it. She's getting
Yeah.
better at it. So, I guess another thing I have with friendship is, do you find yourself learning more from your friends or teaching your friends more?
Ooh.
Which do you feel like you fall more on?
I feel like I'm in between. Although I guess I can't really speak for my friends.
Yeah.
So probably learning more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a rephrased version of that question. Do you feel yourself seeking to learn more from your friends or seeking to show that you know more to your friends?
I would say seeking to learn more.
Yeah.
I'm
sure.
definitely that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
want to learn more, absorb more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's kind of hard. I don't know if it's a guy thing or just, some guys' things, but I'm always like, okay, so you know that. So I need to know something else to be like on the
Mhm.
equivalent level of this.
I feel like that's more so a guy thing, but
Yeah.
also
Yeah,
some
for
girls
sure.
could be like that, but
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm just like, oh, cool. Like, you know that. I don't.
It
Cool.
might be an inherent, trying to just be a better guy than someone else. The competitive nature of guys,
Mhm.
It's like, wow, you know that? Well, I know
Mhm.
that the ice in the Arctic only lasts for... just start talking about random facts that don't mean anything. But it is interesting to see that.
Mhm.
Have you guys learned something from a friend recently? And if so, what?
Mhm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to think of things on the
Yeah,
spot.
I can't think of anything.
People do that all the time. They just throw stuff at you. But
Man.
have you taught someone something recently? No is a fine answer.
I'm trying to think.
It's hard to think of things like that. But I'll let you all think about it for a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna hop over to another topic.
Yes.
Within the topic.
Okay.
Okay.
But so with friendship, do you feel like you find yourself drawn to more female friends specifically, or do you find yourself getting a good mix of the two, or do you find yourself more with guys? How is that now, and how has it been for you in the past?
Okay, so I've always been closer with guys usually. Like in high school, most of my close friends were guys just because I feel like, I don't know, no offense to girls, but girls are kind of dramatic and I kind of hate that sometimes. Like I have like my close girlfriends, but I feel like more so I just like get along with guys better.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like positives and negatives to both. But I think as a girl, it's kind of like overwhelming as a
Mhm.
girl to be in a group of girls sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would say mine was a mix just because I grew up with an older brother.
Mm-hmm.
I have
And
two
so-
older brothers, yeah.
I had to, like, at some point, my brother's friends, like, kind of turned into, like, my friends. And so, like, I had those guys. But then also I was like, well, they're talking about, like, sports and all this weird stuff. So I need to find some girls that I can
Yeah.
relate to. Or just, like, in general, even
Yeah.
in school.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, like, guys talk about, like, things that girls don't talk about. And so I would just, like, find that mix.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What would you say you've learned from guys through the friends that you've had?
To not hold grudges.
Yeah.
Guys get over things really fast, like
Yeah.
so fast. I don't know how.
I-
I don't know how you do it.
I told Joe this story on the other podcast. When I was younger, me and my younger brother were fighting over playing video games.
Mhm.
You know, it blew up in its whole thing. He's like, I hate you, yada, yada, yada. And I went upstairs, and like an hour and a half later, I went downstairs. I was like, Hudson, you want to throw the football around? He's like, yeah. So he just went outside and threw the football around.
Yeah. See, girls. I don't think girls would do that. Girls would probably hold a grudge for
Yeah.
like a week. And
Yeah.
then
I would definitely say, like, that's a big thing that I learned just through having an older brother.
Yeah.
And especially just more recently, like, as Max and I have just, like, gotten closer with each other. Like, Max is just so quick to be like, oh, I messed up. Like, last weekend we went to the K-State Oklahoma game, and he decided to post, like, these really embarrassing pictures of me on my Instagram story. And I was like, we just got really mad, or I got really mad, and he knew that, and he was just, like, over it in 2 seconds, and I was like, I yelled at him, like, in the restaurant. Smart.
Nice.
He was, like, over it super fast, and I was like, how? I don't understand. But
So why do you think it is that girls, or you specifically, find it hard to just let go of a grudge like that?
I think girls also overthink things a lot more, and they, like, look deeper into things than they need to be looked into. And so, yeah, guys are just kind of like, see it how it is.
yeah. I think,
I
just
don't
going
know.
off of that, girls just, like, think about it a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
and just, like, have to sit there and we, like, wallow in it for, like, a really long time, and so then it's, like, hard. Just because we think about it so much, and then, like, it's, like, a continuous cycle. It's, like, okay, we're over it for 2 minutes, and then we're like, oh, but she did this, like, 2 years ago, and then we, like, get mad again, and, it's like, and then she just said that, and that wasn't needed, and then, so it's just, like, a mindful cycle, and so I think it's hard for us.
To be fair, there is a positive side to overthinking things as well. How do you feel guys are falling short in not thinking for things as long? What do you think the negative side of that
Man,
is?
this is getting too real.
Too real? We're coming on the end of the
Man.
podcast. You gotta get
Yeah,
real.
I'm gonna shoot. Okay.
Or do we have no shortcomings? That's an acceptable answer. I'm
I
just
think, I think it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
Like, we're all individuals here, you know? We all make mistakes. We all mess up. We're all different. We're all unique.
Yeah.
I think sometimes if guys, like, don't think about it as often, it can come off as just, like, it just kind of, like, blew it off, kind of. It's like, oh, it's done and over with, and you're like, no, like, that really hurt me. And guys, like, if they get over it quickly, like, in a girl's mind, they could be like, oh, well, did, like, they really mean that sorry, or, like, you know, just because you guys you just get over it so fast, and it's like, how? Like, did you really think about what you were gonna say when you apologized?
Yeah.
That's true.
And in movies and real life, you see that a lot in relationships.
Yeah.
Really hits it hard.
Yep.
But it provides for some good dramatic entertainment in movies sometimes.
Yes, it is true.
yes, I do enjoy watching that.
Drama.
I think the funniest thing about a lot of those movies is just how drastically they have, not how drastic the miscommunication can be.
Oh, yes.
It's like, all you have to do is, like, say where you're going. And that's it. You're fine. Everything is off the hook. And it doesn't happen. But miscommunication. Communication's important.
Communication is key.
Topic for a different day.
Yes.
Well, we're coming up on the end of the podcast. Do you all have anything you want to say at the end? Any thoughts?
I just want to say thank you to Dawson for having us on his podcast. It's been a great time. It's been a blast. Exceeded my expectations, which was very difficult because my expectations were very high.
Was the candle sufficient enough?
Oh, yes. The silver birch Yankee candle, amazing.
I just want to thank Kaitlin, too, for also bringing me along for moral support so I could be a part of this. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, you did good.
I'd like to allow some time for shout-outs if you'd like to do shout-outs.
Shout out to Riley on Hey 9. She really wants to be on your podcast. So
Really?
Yeah. We told her, we were like, yeah, we're going to do a podcast. And she's like, what? I'm so into that stuff. And we were like, okay, we'll tell him.
Yep.
So
we're telling you.
Okay, this is
Shout
just
out.
on the podcast. Yeah, no,
Yep.
it works for me. Yeah. Also, the last thing, if you would like, you are allowed to drink the candle wax.
Oh.
No one has taken up the offer yet, but you could be the first.
I'll let someone else do the honors.
No, that's very selfless of you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. It's a big sacrifice.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Yeah. So everyone have a great day and a great rest of your week.